What's a fact about sex that's actually a myth? That sex is always super serious and weird stuff happens, laugh about it, and roll with it. That's half the fun. Dude, I can't even count how many times something has happened. My girlfriend and I get the giggles or start cackling for like 10 minutes and then get back to it. Sex is supposed to be fun. People really overthink it sometimes. My girlfriend quotes The Office one of the first few times we had sex, and that was when I knew we were gonna be together for the long haul. Maybe you shouldn't be doing that in a line. Doctor here. One time a F17 patient and her boyfriend M16 came in for consultation because she had been feeling really nauseous lately. I asked her if there was any way she could be pregnant. She confidently replied no. I asked if they weren't actually active or if they were using a birth control method. She said no, but we have standing up, which makes pregnancy impossible. Needless to say, she walked out with a prescription for folic acid and iron supplements. But the important thing here is that she had the freedom to not be taught anything about sex other than abstinence. If someone had actually oppressed her by explaining that this won't work, who knows what kind of disaster it would have been. At very least, it might have made Jesus sad, right? Being cursed with a life beyond being a teen mom, getting an education, a career, retiring before you die. None of that matters in the face of babies. And thank God she didn't abort it, get her life in order, and then deliberately become pregnant again 10 years later, when she can handle it. A likely miserable kid being raised by an impoverished and unequipped teen mom is objectively better than a kid raised in a stable environment by adult parents who wanted them. That sex is always better after the first time. Sometimes it doesn't get better and can in fact be a medical problem. If you're having painful sex, get it checked out by a real doctor. There's help and treatments out there. 100%. Don't get into a rut where you think it'll get better later. Either you need to communicate better about your needs with your partner, or you need to find out if it's a medical condition. For instance, vaginismus. Absolutely. I spent 3 years thinking it'd get better when I need physical therapy. What kind of physical therapy? Using a medical dilator to stretch the muscles. That's good to know. Do you talk to your gyno? I haven't had much luck with my PCP, and she won't refer me to gyno, but IDK if I can just make my own appointment directly. I had to get a referral from a nurse practitioner to see a gyn before they'd speculate on anything. Usually with a gyn though you don't need a referral. My last one didn't require referrals, but she was also terrible, so maybe that was why. Great, thank you for the info. The longer you go the better it is. I have a condition, and it takes me a long time to finish. I'm talking like an hour. Some women take that personally, and most of them just don't seem to be able to last that long. Friction is a thing. It actually sucks. It's inconvenient at very least. You should invest in some good lube. It can make all the difference. I've had multiple medications throughout my life that had this effect, mainly amphetamines in high school, because I was addict, and I didn't realize that they were the problem because I had no previous sexual experience. Fortunately, the girl I was with was very sexual and very committed to making me come. Sounds like a keeper. We were in high school. Honestly, if she was attracted to that version of me, I don't want anything to do with her lol. Lol IDK about that. Hypersexuality usually comes with some terrible traits. Committed to making him not equal to hypersexuality. I have the same condition, and I was in a relationship with someone who was hypersexual. Fun at first, but that's all the relationship ended up being about, and that's not what I wanted. You don't need lube because a woman's pussy is self-lubricating. Yes, it can be, but every person is different, and vaginal fluid dries pretty fast. It's a much better bet to have lube on hand just in case she's naturally more dry. I cannot stress enough the importance of lube. In January, me and my boyfriend went to Rome, proceeded to spend 2 days constantly banging. I've not got a whole lot of experience, so I figured the stretchy/burn feeling from my vagina was normal, and it was just his doing the sex things, or whatever. Nope, not enough lube. There was a lot of blood. Every time I peed I had to shower because my vagina stung so bad. I couldn't sleep because it was so fucking itchy. I bled when I walked. My vagina became one big friction burn. because I didn't insist on more lube. I was in pain for about a month because of that, and a yeast infection I got as a result of what I can only assume was skinning the inside of my. If you're ever in doubt, use more lube. In the case of microtears in the vagina, do not use tampons to absorb the blood. Let it bleed out on its own, otherwise healing will take longer. For tears on the penis, 1 to 2 weeks of total abstinence are the only way to get rid of it. You can tear your. I know of people having some little microtears in their vagina. Happens when it gets rougher sometimes, but I don't comprehend how that works for your. The clitoris is not hard to find. It is quite literally front and center. Knowing what to do with it once you've found it, on the other hand, while at front and center, there is an incredible amount of variation from woman to Roman in terms of size and how it responds. So yeah, while you can find the hood quite easily, sometime that little button is shy as and ain't popping out for nothing. Well yes, there is typically a lot of variation between a woman and a Roman. One being a nationality and all that. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your. No, not those. Semi-relevant. Cicero taught to not use certain idioms in public speeches because they could sound obscene. Most notable example is nobis with us, which sounded similar to cannobis. Tis and the orators were expected to say nobis instead. A man will be scanning a woman's body for every fat roll, stretch mark, stray body hair, or other imperfection once she is naked, and he will jump out of bed and run away in horror seeing any of these things. Most men really don't go into such detail when getting naked and frisky. You don't need to look like a porn star or a Hollywood body double for them to think you are plenty hot and sexy. If a man has already gone far enough with a woman that sex is imminent, he sure isn't going to bail on 99% of the pleasure that awaits him because of some insignificant 1% flaw. This is such a good point. I work in underwear retail, and women will get over if the bra and panty are precisely the same shade of pink or turquoise, or whatever. I always tell them there is an entire stomach between them, and if he doesn't wanna because your underwear doesn't quite match, then something is seriously wrong. Don't think lingerie is necessarily all about dudes. Your customers probably want the colors to match because of their own feelings, not what they think a guy would like. I was always told that a woman's vagina would stretch more and more every time they had sex, and no one wants someone that has a loose vagina. It stretches but it goes back to normal. This part is weird. Women deemed promiscuous who have sex 1000 times are used up, whereas a married woman who has sex 1000 times is generally not. What is it about different men that stretches? And it rarely incorporates giving birth, which can actually change anatomy. It seems to exclusively be having the wrong kind of. I recently had a very young Redditor explain to me that the more sex a woman has, the larger and looser her labia get, until she ends up with a roast beef. I was like, no honey, just no. I don't even remember the context of the thread, but when I realized I was likely talking to a 13-year-old, I was super uncomfortable, but also relieved it wasn't a grown-up man believing this nonsense. Either you were talking to a 13-year-old or an incel. Roast beef is a pretty common insult for labia in their shitty little circle. That's basically what I said. Dude, you're either an incel or a teenager. He then admitted to lacking experience, which led me to believe he was a kiddo. I think an incel would have been more hostile. It was still super cringy, sorry to use that tired word, to realize that I have 38y/a woman was discussing labia with a male minor shudder. Blue waffle is not real. Didn't figure that out till I was 20. I found out that blue balls is real at 30. At the start of my relationship with my girlfriend, I was completely unable to come for some weird reason. I had been trying and failing to jack off to her for about 2 weeks, and then the day I got to second base, my testicles physically hurt, still couldn't get off. Fortunately, my insanely observant girlfriend pointed out that the painkiller I just started can cause an orgasmia, and I stopped taking it 3 days before we had sex for the first time, just in time. Try cannabis if you can, bud. Helps with my chronic joint pain, and it makes sex great. Hell, it makes everything great. It destroys my motivation and memory. It was great for my back pain, but I had to quit after a week. I didn't get high off of it, but that might be due to the high CBD concentration. CBD oil was useless. I see what you're saying. It isn't for everyone. If pain is very severe, CBD may not have enough of an effect. Higher THC concentrations work wonders for joint pain. I'm in a black market state, so risks are involved. CBD does have the anti-inflammatory properties you may need, so I won't discount it completely. Hope you find something that works.